Well, I'm back to YouTube, and Jaymz Colvin isn't my best friend anymore. My new best friend is Junior Mark. This arm is kind of hurt. It's 1:36 p.m. Well, I drank the seawater is leaving you too. I'm sad about that. I like to watch her videos. So I'm gonna call this what it's like to live with bipolar disorder. Danielle Rigoli, I think she only has bipolar disorder. I don't think she's actually a paranoid schizophrenic person. With bipolar disorder, there's mood swings. With paranoid schizophrenia, there's voices and hallucinations. Margie, who calls herself Gigi, is real, even though I have paranoid schizophrenia, though. I don't know why. So is Jeff Ronald McGaney, who is Storm's Mick on Facebook, who was my witchcraft coven leader. That was the Hecate cult that I was in. With Tourette syndrome, that's Tourette syndrome in my neck. And like I said, on Facebook, there's the Meyer family that's been real ever since I was 15 that bullied me. And then, like I said, Billy Wesley Fouts would call himself Billy Myers. And there's the Meyer family that I used to hang out with prior, before I even got involved with having Sharolaid as my boyfriend. Like I said, I talked to Kelly J. Caldwell, but not with Brian, who owns the Hoarder House on Jessica's Lane. And like I said, when I was 22 or 23, George Fair refused to take me to the hospital or doctor appointments for bleeding issues that went unresolved for a long time. And like I said, because I'm the real Ryan George Fair, and I knew Sharolaid, and there's Jeffree Star called Sharolaid. I conversed with Sharolaid from the time until I was 17, until I was about 25 or 26 or 27. 28, 29, 30, 31. It's been 4 years since I talked to him. I just moved on and talked to people on Facebook. I won't lie about the fact he was my boyfriend. And like I said, Gary Lanier has a new boyfriend. With Gary Lanier, he wanted the threesome with me when I went in his house. And like I said, I've been going to mental hospitals my whole life. And people with schizophrenia aren't violent. I don't leave my house very often. And it's illegal to come to 902 Beatrice Lane in Bel Air, Maryland. Unless you are a resident or you know people who live here. My Sims 4 is Ryan Aliendo. And like I said, in my former school, I liked a girl named Rachel. But Rachel was with Victor. And like I said, Alicia was my first girlfriend who was I Love Ryan Fair on YouTube. And then Brooks' name is Brooke Darks, who has her Brooke Darks channel, Tanya's Dead. Nadia has her Nadia Pickett channel of her getting married to her husband. And then Sabrina Nicole La Rochelle is on YouTube as the La Rochelle Crew that I figured when I was 17. And like I said, Brandin Drechsler and Victor were my two best friends in my school. And Brandin Drechsler is a coincidence person with a Brandon Jones boy that looks exactly like he does. Even though Billy Wesley Fouts was my boyfriend, I don't know how to do makeup very well. Like he can. And like I said, his name is not Billy Myers. It's Billy Wesley Fouts. And Brandon's name on Facebook is Brandin, Brandin, Drechsler, Brandin Drechsler, who was my best friend in my former school. And Brian, who owns the Order House on Jessica's Lane, is in the apartment complex directly across from me. I don't know if he still lives there with his parents or not. With Brian, we did things only on one day when I was 13. Or 14, I think. With Kelly J. Caudill, it was when I was 22. And with my girlfriend with black hair last year, she's with someone else. And I talked to Jeffree Star once. But overall, I just had Billy Wesley Fouts or Sharolaid as my boyfriend. From the time until I was 17 years old until I was about 20 or 21. And like I said, when I turned 25 is when I hung out with John Powell, and Jeff McGaney and Jared and things like that. They're real even though I have paranoid schizophrenia, I don't know why. The first people coincidence boy that I noticed, well, the first one that came into my life was the Dan Wrigley boy, that lives in Timonium, I think, and then there's, Damon Winning, that is a coincidence person with him, even though I have paranoid schizophrenia. And like I said, with Billy Wesley Fouts or Sharolaid, he was my boyfriend from the time until I was 17 until I was 20. And overall, I prefer females over males. It was just something I did because I had nothing else at that time. Because even at 31, my dad will not fix my car. He says I shouldn't drive because I have schizophrenia. And when I call Uber places, they say call this number and call that number, or things like that, and then they just never show up to my house. So I just stay inside and I have drinks brought to me 2 days out of the week. I talk to my friend Junior Mark on Facebook, who is my best friend. And like I said, legally, because of Ryan George Fair ripoff report, yes, I'm getting a residential home. Because I'm a former cult survivor when I was in Jeff's witchcraft coven. I still believe in Hecate, even today. And like I said, they didn't say that I had PTSD yet. They just said I was a paranoid schizophrenic. They said I had ADHD, bipolar disorder, Tourette syndrome, paranoid schizophrenia, autism, and bipolar disorder. And my religious belief is that God is a man with a beard, and Hecate is a girl with black hair that sits in heaven holding a huge knife. That causes things to happen in this world, like coronavirus and disease and hunger and racism and things like that. But then I believe we move on to another plane of existence where everybody's happy and people aren't in pain anymore. And there's no pain or sorrow. I just believe this is like the dark dimension of life where people get hurt arms and people drink to deal with their sadness. And there's cyberbullying and racism and homophobia but I believe that being gay is more tolerant than it was like in my dad's era, but you still have Westboro Baptist and things like that. And like I said, there's still murders and homicides and things like that. Like I said, I was just tired of being put on Ryan George for a ripoff report when I feel I'm not gay. I feel Brian was just because Kelly Jeffries turned me down. I feel Kelly J called on one day was because I was sad. And like I said, no, I don't call or visit my mom. I disowned them about a year ago, that entire side of my family, because they're evil, cruel, mean, and nasty people. They treated me like shit my whole life. I couldn't even make another boyfriend if I wanted to. And then Gary Lanier wants to sit there and say that I was asking him to do things with me when I just don't like him as my ex-boyfriend. No, I don't like Billy as my ex-boyfriend. He was my boyfriend. And things like that, but I'm the one that broke up with him. And I really don't think I wanted to get back with Billy Wesley Fouts after I broke up with him. I can't work because I have schizophrenia, Tourette's, OCD, autism, bipolar disorder, and all of that. I'll never be able to work because of that. And like I said, when I don't use my real Ryan Fair name, people like my channel and give me support. People just don't like me because I'm Ryan George Fair at 902 Discos Lane. And like I said, every day my dad is mean to me. Every day. He denies me the right to have a normal house, a car and things like that. And then, like I said, when James, who was my ex best friend, did come over, he would always stay here when I had a girlfriend. And like I said, I'm not trying to make girls off YouTube. My friend Junior said that he'll help hook me up with one if he's able to come down here or things like that. Like I said, there was a boy named Chris Whitehouse that uses Facebook. They blackmailed me, who was one of Billy Wesley Fouts' friends. They would post my information in Facebook groups. That is into muscly men getting shot, that is butthurt about a guy named Travis that trolled him with me. Hate comments don't bother me. And like I said, Billy Wesley Fouts would talk crap about Elizabeth Eilich Ann Burns, or whatever her name is, who is he called Wiccan Meat and things like that, because she's a fat witchcraft girl that Billy Wesley Fouts used to talk to. And like I said, Billy Wesley Fouts couldn't handle that I moved on with my new girlfriend when I turned 21. And then my other girlfriend with black hair last year and things like that. I just moved on from Sharolaid. But Alex wanted to blackmail me after he ruined my car and put me on Ryan George favorite golf report. And I've been out of work for the past 5 years because I believe in a goddess that sits in heaven that enjoys being evil to me. And if you believe that, they'll qualify your disability. In a few months, if you have paranoid schizophrenia and you write down that you believe in a goddess that enjoys being evil and cruel to you, having your black friend die from COVID-19, growing up in a horror house, being stalked by the Marjorie Brubaker woman who made her Ryan George favorite golf report, which doesn't really cause me that much pain. It's funny to laugh at when I get drunk, because it just reminds me that I'm the greatest fucking troll of all time. And they pay me $900 a month and people will still watch my channel. And like I said, I'm not racist because my black friend got coronavirus and died, which made me sad. And like I said, my best friend is Junior Mark. And once a week, people wonder what happened to Sharolaid, and me, Ryan George Ferris, the only one with all the precious answers to all the precious questions that I never have to answer. I know who Billy likes, I know who he dislikes. And like I said, sometime when I was 10, I wanted to go on reality shows because of the horror at my mom's, but I just continued to deal with it. And even at 31, my mom will call me and I will refuse to talk to her. Because she's evil. And like I said, my stepdad would put me in closets and things like that. Well, not my stepdad, but my stepbrother, he put me in a closet. My pants were pulled down. My mom held scissors to me, and my stepdad would call me a faggot and say things about Sharolaid being my boyfriend. And he likes to watch Chuck Norris and things like that on TV. And No, I feel I'm not gay, even though Sharolaid was my boyfriend. I feel that's just something I did from the time until I was 17 until I was 20 or 21. Because I had nothing else and I was sad with George Fair and 1700 Dungarvan Courthouse of Horror Abuse. And this is going on 30 minutes. I hope everybody's good from Ryan George Fair.